Welcome to the channel. Awake after a little nap. Just let me say real quick. Again, I'm not here to be entertaining. I know if this actually reaches some people out there, I don't, I'm not a comedian, you know. Um, I'm not sitting here thinking about ways to be all exciting and funny. Okay. I just need to get this information out there, and there may be a little bit of ego involved, as I believe I have a gift here to see these patterns and these connections that expose a lot of these stories that they give us to distract us over a period of time. I catch these patterns and connections, and I'm like, wait a minute. So that's my main goal here, is to just get this information out as accurately as possible. All right. So I think I've heard of this character, but never really looked into it other than what I've heard, which hasn't been that much. But I have a trending story, and it's Virginia Giuffre, who accused Britain's Prince Andrew in Epstein sex trafficking scandal. Now she has died, okay? And I'm going to quickly just get into a video, and then hopefully I don't have to edit the video out because it has no volume. But if that's the case, whatever.
This just in, Virginia Giuffre, the woman.
Let's try that again.
This just in, Virginia Giuffre, the woman who accused Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew of sexual abuse, has died by suicide. Her family just made the announcement on social media. They say the 41-year-old passed away last night at her farm in Western Australia. Giuffre was one of the earliest and loudest voices calling for criminal charges against Epstein and his enablers. Other Epstein abuse survivors later credited her with giving them the courage to speak out. For years, Epstein and Prince Andrew denied all allegations against them. Epstein, a wealthy financier, died by suicide in a New York jail 6 years ago. He was awaiting trial on federal.
That's interesting, right? Epstein dies of suicide, and now you get this character dying of suicide. Other than them telling us that, and this character died at 41, by the way, but other than them just repeating it, you would think, they would be like, wow, Epstein also died of suicide. Okay. You would think they would be like, wow, what a connection, right? But no, they're not going to do that. They're just going to put the info out there. I come along, and then my brain, that's how it works. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting, right?
Sex trafficking charges. Hardly anyone was convicted in connection to his case, but Epstein's associate Ghislaine Maxwell, a former British socialite, was
I don't know who the hell that is coughing, but that's not me.
convicted in connection to his case, but Epstein's associate Ghislaine Maxwell, a former British socialite, was found guilty of sex trafficking a few years ago. She was convicted of recruiting young girls to be abused by Epstein. She still maintains her innocence. And a reminder, there are free and confidential mental health services available. You can.
Right, and they'll probably slap a little warning or a little hotline number or something next to the video. They'll probably shadow ban it even more, but
Call or text the national. This just in, Virginia.
And that Epstein stuff isn't really new. That's, I'm going to say about all of us have heard about the Epstein story, right? And we have the Diddy stuff that's going on as well. And I just did the Shannon Sharp like sexual assault allegations. RAPE, right? I just did that breakdown. So now we get this trending again now with a similar story, right? And Shannon Sharp with that breakdown, S, right? And that was connected to Steve McMichael's death as well. Steve S, sexual assault S, even Shannon Sharp's brother Sterling S. Well, now we get suicide S with this character and sexual abuse, right? Uh, Giuffre died by suicide Friday at her farm in Western Australia, her publicist confirmed. Remember, in the language, suicide equals 119, which is like 19. And don't forget, S is the 19th letter of the alphabet. Okay? So, Virginia was a fierce warrior in the fight against sexual abuse and sex trafficking. She was the light that lifted so many survivors. Her family said in a statement, despite all the adversity she faced in her life, she shone so bright, she will be missed beyond measure. This is interesting because, they're bringing up Prince Andrew, Duke of York. They say she accused him and Epstein, right? Or she accused Britain's Prince Andrew and Epstein sex trafficking scandal. Even obviously S, X, scandal S, suicide S, a lot of S's. But look at Prince Andrew is the second son of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. You see that? Right? And which this stuff has all been trending and this energy's been popping lately, hasn't it? Because for one, I just had the Queen Elizabeth II, her favorite dogs race for glory in Britain's Corgi Derby. But on top of that, the Pope just died on her birthday, right? April 21st. And of course, Prince, the musician, died that day as well. Okay? And this is Prince Andrew, Duke of York. And they mentioned the Queen's husband, Prince Philip, as well, right? Which I don't have a picture of him here, but you see, Prince Andrew, Duke of York, is the second son of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, right? So you get the Prince connection, you get the Pope, and remember all the P's: Prince Philip, PP, Pope, P, and Prince died. I think it was Paisley Park, PP. Okay. Uh, Prince Andrew served in the Royal Navy for 22 years, including as a helicopter pilot. P. Okay. It's definitely not a coincidence that we get all of this energy popping back up again in a trending story. So, I got the numbers, I got the code to show you, right? The alphabet. Do you understand? 4 base ciphers with the language, letters with numerical values attached. Giuffre, it's the last name for this character. R.I.P. Suicide. Okay? Look at that. 117, just like Prince Andrew, Duke of York. See that? I'm assuming that's him right there in the picture that keeps popping up with her. I don't know if that's Ghislaine Maxwell on the right. Maybe, maybe not. But look at that, 117 in two of the base ciphers. Prince Andrew, Duke of York, syncs up with the last name of this character, and she accused him in the Epstein sex trafficking scandal, and she, now she passes. They're saying it's suicide. Did she have some sort of accident as well? I think I may have saw before this. Let's look on the fly. Yeah, look. This says 3 weeks ago, Miss Giuffre posted on Instagram to say she had been seriously injured in a car accident. I mean, wow, what are the odds, right? Wow, right? What are the odds of that? Victim who claimed Prince Andrew sexually abused her given 4 days to live. I mean, do they mention that that's what led to the suicide? Or, I mean, isn't that's interesting though, right? Bus driver in the crash, they're saying a bus involved. No injuries reported in crash believed to involve Prince Andrew, accuser. I definitely don't think that that's a coincidence. Let's put crash over here. Look at that. Crash has oh, my bad. I thought I saw the 41 with crash. Accident. All right. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting to bring up. Look at more connections here. Isn't that amazing? Look at her birthday. And why do we get a birthday with her? She just kind of seems like a victim here, doesn't she? Or like an advocate, or somebody who's against stuff like this. Sometimes we get major players on the stage and we can't even get a birthday. We get a birthday with this character, okay? 8/9, August 9, Virginia Giuffre. Wow. Sex trafficking scandal equals 8/9, 89. Her first name equals 89, and that's her birthday. And that's what she's involved in here. RIP to her. And it's right in the title, sex trafficking scandal. Look at the 127. Sex trafficking scandal. Her full name, Virginia Louise Giuffre. First name, Virginia. All with the 127s right there. Even Virginia Giuffre, you get 98 in reduction. And again, that's her birthday. The 9th day of the 8th month. Look at that. So you get the 89 and you get the 98, which syncs up with her birthday. You see the reduction cipher? Forwards with the alphabet, 26 letters. At J, it begins the double digits. J is the 10th letter. 1 plus 0 is 1. K the 11th. 1 plus 1 is 2. And beyond. And then you add up the single digits. Look at that. 98 to sync up with their birthday. You want to see something amazing? The Queen, Elizabeth II, that's her death date. 9/8. So look at how their birthdays sync up and the Queen's energy lingering again. And didn't we just have the NFL draft? Or isn't it going on? Kind of currently? If I read my feed right. And didn't she die on the opening day of the NFL season? A few years back now? But look, I mean, the death date syncs up with the birthday of this character, and it all syncs up with the prince, her son, connects to the Pope, and the musician Prince dying on her birthday, right? We have her husband, Prince Philip. We have all the P's. We have the S's. It's amazing, right? Look at that. 2022 with that death date. That's amazing, okay? What are the chances Jeffrey Epstein, his birthday is one day after Virginia Giuffre? Check that out. What are the chances all of these characters sync up by the numbers? Okay? What are the chances Epstein's got the August 10th death date? I may have said birthday on accident. I think I did. But it's the death date. Jeffrey Epstein died one day after Virginia Giuffre's birthday. Okay? And she accused Prince Andrew in Epstein's sex trafficking scandal, and now she's died with that accident. And there's probably something with Virginia, the name. Think about maybe Maryland, Mary, right? Mary, the Queen, I think has Mary in her full name. And I know those states are kind of close together. So there's probably something with Virginia. Look, you get virgin in there, which is kind of interesting to go along with this, right? With this case, sex trafficking. Look, Virginia. Don't forget the stuff is with the language. Of course, of course, she dies 106 days before her birthday, and Jeffrey Edward Epstein equals 106 in the language. Of course, right? Of course. And that's his full name. And she dies by suicide. He dies by suicide. One day after her birthday. Come on, right? And he's got Edward in his middle name. Wasn't there a Prince Edward? Who is Prince Edward? There's a Prince Edward. And he died on the 10th of March. And Epstein died on the 10th of August. You see that? This is the youngest child of Queen Elizabeth II, Prince Edward. You see that? And Epstein's got the middle name Edward. That's on the fly. That's on the fly. You see that? That's on the fly, y'all. Okay? So she died, and from her death date to his death date, Epstein, 108-day span from April 25th to August 10th. Epstein's death date, 108, and his birthday is 108, or excuse me, his death date. So 108-day span from her death date to his death date, 108, and his death date's 108, the 10th day of the 8th month. Notice how he died in 2019? Remember, suicide equals 119, like 19, and S is the 19th letter of the alphabet. Even her middle name, Luis, 81 and 81 in two ciphers. And his death date, 8/10, like 81. Cancel out the zero in numerology. You get the 81, 81, 81. This one last connection, one last slide. Maybe we'll catch more on the fly. Look at even how sex trafficking scandal syncs up with Jeffrey Epstein. Sex trafficking scandal in the reverse cipher, Z is 1, A would be 26. Anybody can do this. 361, Jeffrey Epstein, 163. Look at 361 from right to left. Look at, you see that? 163, 361. How about that? Not a coincidence. All of this stuff is by the numbers. This whole world is fake. We get these stories and these patterns all by the language. And there's probably more within the breakdown that I'm missing. I mean, can you blame me? You know, we have a lot of people putting out content where they're just giving their opinion on everything. Okay? I'm literally breaking down these stories daily, like 2 a day, okay? So if anybody has anything to add, and like I said at the beginning, I'm not here to entertain, but if you do like something about me that has nothing to relate to this, I mean, go ahead and let me know. But, if it's something negative, hey, where's your breakdown? Okay, again, I'm not an entertainer. I'm not a sellout YouTuber. I'm not here to sell you merchandise. Do you understand? I'm not pushing agendas. I'm breaking down mainstream news and showing you it's fake. Okay? But yeah, if you like my voice, yeah, go ahead and you could tell me that. That's fine. And to be honest, just tell me go ahead and leave me a comment, whatever you want, right? If you're just here to critique me, go for it, right? But you can't deny these connections, okay? So if you want to say, hey, you you talk really slow, but I see the connections, good breakdown. Okay, that makes sense, right? Too many people they really just love giving their opinions, you know. But yeah, opinions are okay from time to time, but don't deny the facts.
We have some breaking news for you. Virginia Giuffre, a woman who accused both Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein of sexual abuse, has taken her own life. Her family confirmed her death in a statement to NBC News. It reads, "It is with utterly broken hearts that we announce that Virginia passed away last night at her farm in Western Australia. She lost her life to suicide after being a lifelong victim of sexual abuse and sex trafficking. Virginia was a fierce warrior in the fight against sexual abuse and sex trafficking. She was the light that lifted so many survivors. In the end, the toll of abuse is so heavy that it became unbearable for Virginia to handle its weight." Ms Giuffre alleged she was trafficked by Mr Epstein to have sex with Prince Andrew as a teenager. She sued the Duke of York for sexual abuse in August 2021, but settled out of court in 2022. Prince Andrew repeatedly denied the claims. And if you or anyone you know is feeling distressed, you can call Life.
Right? I mean, why would they, I can understand why would anybody want to call a number. Look what happened to this character. They're saying she took her own life and then she had that shady accident. You know what I'm saying? They say she died at her farm in Australia. I don't see anything that really pops out there. So yeah, I hope you got to hear the volume in those videos. If not, then I have to edit them out again. Prince Andrew, Duke of York, right here. And then, yeah, that's weird. I think that's weird that we get a birthday with her. Well, she died on the 25th. at her farm. Farm equals 25. We're in the year 25 right there. But yeah, I think that's strange that we get a birthday with her, because she's a campaigner who offered support to survivors of sex trafficking, and they put her a birthday with her. There's a lot of victims, like for real out there. I know there is. She's even, and we would think that we want them to. Can we shine some light on them if they would like it? Look, she's even born in Sacramento, S. One of her parents' name is Sky, S. Dies of suicide, S. Sex trafficking, S. I just did the Shannon Sharp. Similar story, SS. Steve Mongo McMichael passes. Football connection there. S with Steve. Remember, Queen Elizabeth II died on opening day of the NFL season 2022. Right? And you know what's amazing? Remember, Shannon Sharp played for the Baltimore Ravens as well as the Broncos? And the Queen died on opening day, right? In 2022. And there's a guy named Queen on the Ravens, I think, at that time. Patrick Queen. You see that? Is he still playing? Looks like he's on the Steelers now. Looks like he's on the Steelers now. And he joined. Look, he was born 3 days. Well, Epstein died 3 days before Patrick Queen's birthday. And his birthday is 4 days after Virginia Giuffre. You see that? Wow, right? And notice how he joined the Steelers March 15th. And Prince Edward, I think his birthday is 5 days before that. You see that right there? And he's got the Justin Herbert birthday. So you see how this all connects with football, and the draft is going on right now. That's how you know all of this stuff is a script. You see that? Right? He's got that Justin Herbert birthday with all this football connection. And look, you get London here. And remember, the NFL plays in London. You see that? Right? Not a coincidence. Not whatsoever, I hate how Google Slides doesn't change easier. So wow, right? And there's obviously going to be more connections, but we kind of get the gist of the story here. Know what I'm saying? I will, on the side, just kind of scan down the article just to see if anything major pops out. They're probably going to give us just paragraph after paragraph. But I think we have all the information we need here. Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah, so I think we're good, y'all. Shout out to y'all for being here. I try making these under 20 minutes, but it just doesn't seem to be working out lately. As you know, we have to give details of these stories. I guess I don't have to, but I think it helps to go along with the decode, just so we kind of know what's going on a little bit more, as I wasn't familiar with this character really before this. Virginia Giuffre, who accused Britain's Prince Andrew and Epstein sex trafficking scandal, has died. They're saying suicide. So expect to see the little disclaimer under the video because of that, and probably a further shadow ban. Even Shooter Sanders is trending with the draft. And there's some more S's. Falls to day 3. How did he fall to day 3? I'm not understanding that whatsoever. That's just my opinion. I don't really follow. I do the breakdowns. I've even done breakdowns on him. I have no idea how he fell. I'm sure the scouting report will say different in a fake world. Shout out to y'all. This is Daily Decodes 812. Until next time.